A huge thanks to Brian for sponsoring this video. Good morning, fellow mathematicians. Welcome back to another video. So, my second child is on the way, kind of. My wife is already in labor, kind of. He's overdue for around 2 weeks by now, and I could just sit around and do nothing and just wait for it to happen. I could also record a video on something that I had planned for a while. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I hope you're going to enjoy the video. Leave your prayers down there below that my wife is going to come out of that whole thing unscathed. So, you probably have heard of the law of sine and cosine before. Those are fundamental rules in trigonometry, planar trigonometry, but there's also, and you might have never heard of it before, a law of tangents. And we want to derive the formula for the law of tangents today, and I hope you're going to enjoy the video. Leave your thoughts down there below, and if you have heard of it before. By the way, this video has been sponsored by the wonderful people over in Brian. More information at the end of the video. Check them out, they are amazing. And now we are going to dive right in. Now, we're going to start off with just some random arbitrary planar Euclidean triangle. Looking just regularly, looks like a right triangle. It's not supposed to be one. This right here is alpha, this right here is beta, and this right here is gamma, for example. So opposite to those are the side lengths A, B, and C. And we all know by the law of sines that the ratios of the sines of those angles is equal to the ratio of those opposite sides. So, for example, we could choose a certain situation. There are many situations in here. For example, that the sine of alpha divided by the sine of beta is equal to A divided by B, or sine of alpha divided by sine of gamma is equal to A divided by C, and so on and so forth. Many of those formulas are possible by the law of sines. And this is basically all we need to derive ourselves the law of tangents. And what we are going to do is we are going to go on a little tangent here. We are going to consider A divided by B, but on the one hand +1 and on the other hand -1. You're going to see why in a minute. So let us consider A divided by B -1, and you can do this with all combinations. You can use B divided by C, C divided by A, whatever it is you wish for. Let us start with +1. Really doesn't matter which one we choose as the starting point. Now, we are going to do some simple algebra here. So on the one hand, we can expand this fraction to A plus B divided by B. And what we can also do, since A divided by B is the same as sine alpha divided by sine beta, we can actually do the same thing. So this right here is sine of alpha divided by sine of beta. +1. And by expanding this fraction right here by sine of beta, we are going to end up with sine of alpha plus sine of beta divided by the sine of beta. And this right here is our starting point. This right here is the first part of the equation that we are going to take a look at. Now, we're going to do the same thing with a -1. Now, what is going to change if we do a -1? The only thing that is going to change is the sign on our second part of the fraction right here in the numerator. So we get negative b and we also get negative sine of beta. So another formula that we are going to get if we consider A divided by B -1 is that we get A minus B divided by B is equal to sine of alpha plus minus sine of beta divided by sine of beta. Second formula. Now, if you just take a sharp look, you might notice something. If we were to divide both of those equations by one another, a lot of stuff is going to cancel out. We have 1 over b as a common factor, and we also have 1 over sine of beta as a common factor. So dividing both equations by one another, we are going to result in 1 over b and 1 over sine of beta to cancel out. So if we were to do that, just imagine we are going to divide this thing by this thing right here, left hand side. So we are going to get A plus B divided by A minus B. You can do it the other way around. It really doesn't matter. It's just like with the law of sines. You can just take a reciprocal on both sides and end up with an equivalent expression. So what we're going to do by dividing both equations by one another, we're going to end up with A plus B divided by A minus B is equal to sine of alpha plus sine of beta divided by sine of alpha minus sine of beta. And this right here in and of itself is already pretty cool looking. This looks like another law of sines that you can actually use. And you could probably use it for some kind of calculations. It involves A and B, so two side lengths once again, and the opposite angles. But we want to make this a bit cleaner. We want to bring the tangent into here. So we are going to play around with the right hand side a tiny little bit more. And for this, we are going to take a look at the addition formula for sine waves. So sine of A plus sine of B. This is what we are going to do next. Now, this right here is just sine of A plus sine of B. And if we want to change this to sine of A minus sine of B, we are just going to do the transformation. Let B go to negative B. And since the sine is an odd function, we can drag the negative sign to the front and just vice versa. So the transformation just does everything. We are just going to change B to B and so on and so forth. And A and B are just alpha. For example, or beta. We can also choose X and Y. Maybe that's a tiny little bit better for the viewer because we have already used A and B. Now, we are going to use as a starting point the double angle formula for the sine. We are just going to use stuff that we have derived here on this channel already. Now, what is going to happen if we take the sine of 2 times x over 2? Now, the sine of 2 times x over 2 is going to result in 2 times the sine of x over 2 times the cosine of x over 2. This right here is the formula for the double angle formula for the sine. Now, the same thing for y. If we take 2 times y over 2, we are going to get 2 times the sine of y over 2 times the cosine of y over 2. So plus the sine of 2 times y over 2 is going to result in basically the same expression, plus 2 times the sine of y over 2 times the cosine of y over 2. So far so good. What you can do, you might already notice this, we have a 2 as a common factor, so we can factor this out and get this expression now. And this right here looks eerily similar to the addition formula for the sine. Yeah, this right here looks eerily similar to the addition formula for the sine. So sine of x plus y, basically. But it's not, because then we would need a y here and we would need to substitute an x here for y. So we would need to change the arguments here. So that doesn't work out quite nicely yet, but this is actually a good starting point because it's kind of hidden in this expression that we have right here. So we are going to choose a second starting point. Let us take a look at the addition formula for the sine and the cosine. So what is going to happen if we have the sine of x plus y, for example, the sine of x plus y by the addition formula? This is well known. We have derived this here on this channel before. So we get sine, let me think for a second. We are going to get the imaginary part. So this right here is going to turn into the sine of x times the cosine of y. Plus the cosine of x times the sine of y. This is what we are going to... No, it's with the sine and the... Yeah, no, this works out perfectly. Yeah, this right... I always need to derive it in my head once again, what the addition formulas are. I don't have those remembered. I just derived them in my head really quick by the multiplication of the complex numbers. Now, we are also going to take a look at the cosine of, and this time x minus y. You are going to see y in a second. In an only case, if we do the cosine of x plus y, we are going to end up with a negative sign in the middle. But by doing the substitution to negative y, we have a sine term of negative y. Sine is odd. We can bring the negative sign to the front, leading us to a positive sign in here. And the cosine addition formula leads us to the sine of x times the sine of y plus the cosine of x times the cosine of y. And now what we are going to do is we are going to use something that we use in Lagrangian mechanics a lot. The fundamental theorem of trigonometry. It's actually hidden in here. If we were to multiply those two formulas together once again. So this right here results in kind of a binomial formula. If we were to multiply those together, we need to multiply this with that, and this with that, this with that, and this with that. So let us write everything out, what we are going to get, one under another. So if we were to multiply those two together, we are going to get the sine of x times the cosine of y times the sine of x, so sine squared of x. And then we are going to get the cosine of y times the sine of y. This right here is the first part. Now for the second part, we are going to use this one with this one. So you're going to notice that we get the cosine squared of y part and then sine of x and cosine of x. So we are going to get cosine squared of y times the cosine of x times the sine of x. And now the next one, plus multiplying this one with this one, we are going to get a sine squared of y part right here. And I'm going to put it here for reasons that will become apparent in a second. So sine squared of y and then sine of x cosine of x. And if you got a sharp eye, you might notice that we get a cosine squared part here for the last one of x times the cosine of y sine of y. And now you might notice where I'm getting at here. If you were to compare the things that are just under 1 in ever, you're going to notice that we have a common factor of cosine of y and sine of y. We can factor this out, leaving us in parentheses with the sine squared plus the cosine squared. And by the fundamental theorem of trigonometry, this results in 1. So overall, this left-hand side right here that we have here results in cosine of y times the sine of y. And then plus, we have this part, which has the cosine squared of y plus the sine squared of y, resulting in 1, once again, if we were to factor out cosine of x and sine of x. So plus cosine of x, sine of x. And this is exactly what we need. Take a look at that. So we have the cosine of blah, blah, blah times the sine of blah, 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 plus cosine of another blah 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 times the sine of another blah blah blah. This is exactly the situation that we have right here. So you see, our addition formulas are basically hidden in this little bit of algebra that we did right here. So this part overall is going to result in 2 times. So if this part is the same as those formulas multiplied together, then this is the same as those multiplied together. Sine of x plus y times the cosine of x minus y. But what are x and y now? Our arguments are x over 2 and y over 2 respectively. So we are going to end up with 2 times the sine of x over 2 plus y over 2 times the cosine of x over 2 minus y over 2. And this is actually great. We can bring those two together. So we are going to get this 2 times the sine of x plus y over 2 times the cosine of x minus y over 2. And this is actually quite beautiful if you take a look at that, right? I mean, this turned out very nicely overall. And I'm going to erase everything that we got right here. I'm gonna make this kind of quick. So we are going to do this really dirty this time around. Just erase everything. Now, if you were to plug everything into our original statement that we have right here, what are we going to get? We are going to get overall 2 times, and if we get alpha and beta together, we are going to end up with 2 times sine of alpha plus beta over 2 cosine of alpha minus beta over 2. So this is 2 times sine of alpha plus beta over 2 times the cosine of alpha minus beta over 2. And now, as mentioned before, by doing the substitution where beta goes to negative beta, just our signs are going to change in here. So we are going to get 2 times the sine of, and this time alpha minus beta over 2 times the cosine of alpha plus beta over 2. Now the 2 and the 2 are going to cancel out, and here's where the magic is going to happen. Now you might notice something. We have sine of blah 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 divided by the cosine of blah blah blah. By definition, this is just the tangent of the blah blah blah. Now we also have the cosine of blah 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 divided by the sine of this other blah blah blah. This right here is the cotangent, and by definition cotangent is 1 over the tangent. So we get the tangent of alpha plus beta over 2 divided by the tangent of alpha minus beta over 2. And there we go, fellas. This right here is our law of tangents, namely that a plus b divided by a minus b is the same as the tangent of alpha plus beta over 2 divided by the tangent of alpha minus beta over 2. And this is actually quite a beautiful result if you ask me. This is great, right? We have half angles here and we still have the relationship conserved. Then we take the ratio of sides is equal to the ratio of some trigonometric functions of those opposite angles, at least kind of. This right here is the law of tangents, and as mentioned before, you can substitute a and b for c and whatsoever, and obviously gamma 2, and just play around with all of those expressions. But I hope you have never heard of this before and learned something new. And if you are eager to learn something new on a daily basis, at home or on the go, then the content of today's sponsor Brilliant might be the perfect fit for you. Now currently it's the holiday season and New Year's is right around the corner. So if you are still looking for a present for someone who's interested in all things STEM, then Brilliant might offer the best possible service for your friend, family member or whatever this season. Brilliant, with their over 70 interactive courses in all topics STEM, be it the mathematics that we did today, physics, computer science, chemistry, teaches you everything that you need to get further in your STEM studies. It really doesn't matter what it is. They basically have everything covered that you can quite possibly think of, from Markov chains over to trigonometry and also general relativity. Just check out anything that I put here on screen. The best thing about Brilliant are their animations and visualizations that make it really easy for everyone to learn something new on a daily basis. All the concepts over on their website and app are made very tangible with their great visualizations. And if you are already an avid STEM learner, then you can just tell Brilliant, well, I want to start at this point. And they are going to set you up perfectly such that you can get started at, for example, Lagrangian mechanics instead of Newtonian mechanics, because you are already familiar with all of those concepts. Brilliant really does a great job at transferring knowledge over to their users. And you should just check it out by using my link here at the top of the description, brilliant.org/FambleMath. With it, you are going to get free access to the whole landscape of Brilliant for completely free. 30-day free trial of amazing awesomeness. And if this sounds great to you, and if you want to dive even deeper into Brilliant, then definitely make sure to get yourself a premium subscription with my link or the QR code somewhere up here in the corner. 20% of an annual premium subscription is an amazing deal. It's definitely worth it. And as mentioned before, if you are still looking for the perfect Christmas present or New Year's present for a loved one, check it out and give it a shot. You are not going to fail with Brilliant. They are so amazing and they provide such a great service to the STEM community. Check it out, support the channel this way. I thank you guys for watching. I'm wishing you guys a great Christmas season, and I'll see if my child is gonna be born soon. Wish me good luck. Have a favorable day. See ya.